I'd like to call to order City Council work session agenda on Monday, April 11th, 2016. It's now 5 o'clock. There'll be a regular meeting, as you all know, following this meeting. We'll begin at 6 p.m. As I look around the table, we have one missing, but Wally will be coming, Councilman Campbell. She's going to be a little late. So we have one item on the agenda, and I'd like to remind Council once more to refrain from asking questions until the staff's presentation is complete. On the next meeting, we may change that a little bit differently in the signage of this. I haven't decided that. I read it over again. I just want to be able to make it easy for the rest of you. So the council, we'll read. This is our presentation on the 2015 General Plan Report. Katie Wilkin and Planner 2, Alex Listinsky, will present. Hello, ladies.
Hi. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. It's exciting. It's been over a year since the general plan was ratified by our voters in November of 2014. You might remember from years past that we're required to do an annual update on progress of implementing the general plan. We haven't done one of these since 2011 because while we were updating the general plan, we paused those general plan updates. You might have noticed that you don't have a lengthy report attached to your staff report. It's surprising. I guess people don't like reading long reports about general plans, but so Alex is going to be presenting to you. We got a little innovative this year on how we're presenting the information, trying to make it easier for our customers. So she'll be going through that with you. We're also trying to improve how we report on the general plan itself. So I know you're disappointed not to get your lengthy reports, but hopefully as we go through today, we'll be able to get the information to you anyway. So with that, I'm going to introduce Alex, who put together our annual update and is taking over a lot of the general plan activities lately. So Alex, why don't you give us the presentation?
Thank you, Katie. So just first in the presentation, I included the other plans that kind of run along with the general plan. We got the Parks Master Plan, Transportation, Economic Development's Focus on Success, the Southwest Valley Local Transit System Study, Transit-Oriented Development Strategy, and the ULI Goodyear AZ TAP. All of these are included as the action items included in the general plan. So as we move forward with the implementation, all of the goals in these master plans will be a point of focus. There's 5 core themes that we focus on in the annual report: physical growth and development, community and cultural development, economic development, the land use plan, and data. The first 3 are their own chapter. Actually, the first 4 are their own chapters in the general plan. 5, 6, and 7 are the first 3. The land use plan does include the transportation plan as well. That does have its own chapter. However, it's more of the guide, the map itself. But we did pull out the strategies that the action items that the land use plan tries to incorporate in the section of the general plan annual report. And then data, we're using the first update, the Goodyear 2025, as the benchmark for data. That way we can update it yearly to see how the city has developed as far as population, all general statistics. So that section is included as well.
Sorry, I just wanted to interject. Our other goal with updating the data is to keep that chapter up to date so that hopefully when we do the next full general plan update, we won't be starting from scratch and we'll have a little bit of an easier time.
Good idea.
And maybe won't have to use so many resources with our next general plan update.
Chapter 10 of the general plan is the implementation. That kind of lists out all of the action items that are included in the annual report, and we use those. There's also the matrix in there that describes how we measure how implementation is going. The data sources are on the right. They're all located on the website as well. So this says thank you, so thank you. But we're going to move on to the actual website itself so you can see how awesome it is.
I do want to interject right here again, too, as we pull this up for you, that I just have to tell you the story that when Alex and I sat down talking about putting together the first annual report, I pulled out some of the annual reports I did in years past. And, here you can use this as a guide. And I think Alex said something like, it's too bad we can't do something on the website because people might actually read it. And and she's right. So Alex came up with this idea of actually putting the information straight into our website so that hopefully it's a little easier to read. It's a little less intimidating. If somebody's searching for a very specific thing, it'll come up on Google or in the search on the city site. So we're really excited about this. And but I do want to say it's a first start. No other city does this with their general plans that we could find. I think even though it's a state law to update the general plan too annually, we're one of the few cities that actually follow through on that. So we're, as we go through this presentation, we're also looking for your ideas. So for this part, we would ask you to go ahead and stop us if you have questions, but also if you just have suggestions, if there's a way we could present the data better, if there's a piece of information you think would be interesting to our citizens that you think we should include. We're looking for ideas and suggestions because, as I said, this is kind of new to us. We're in new territory. So we just want to make it better.
Katie, I appreciate that, and that goes out to the rest of the staff because there are some presentations that don't warrant it the way that we've changed it. So I think, thank you for that suggestion tonight. We'll do that.
All right, so the main hyperlink to the website is goodyearaz.gov/Goodyear2025. That link was originally used to, it's actually still, the existing link to the general plan is under Planning and Zoning Division, but we moved it out into the Development Services section just because it does apply to all of the departments within the Development Services. Excuse me. So the other part of the general plan website, that 2025 link, was the update process, and so we did maintain that in the sidebar as well. The landing page for the general plan, now we go through the general plan, some of the bigger ideas. I put the performance management program on as the homepage because just to re-emphasize the importance of the general plan, it was created by the community, and I think sometimes we can forget that it is the main focus, and that is what's guiding our development. Especially we have the strategic action plan, the city stat, PBB, and those are great ways to measure exactly how we are developing and to make sure we're on track. But the general plan is really what we want to report and focus on as we develop.
Sorry, just an idea. I would think that this is a great place for it, development services, but also really, since it is the citizens' item that they have voted into effect, it wouldn't hurt that it was sitting on the resident side also, so that it was, they would see it in both places.
That's great, thank you. So in the first little blurb, it does have the link to the general plan. Gives you a little background to what the general plan is. The purpose is to guide decision-making in the community in order to ensure that we're growing according to our shared vision. Our community vision, this is pulled straight from the general plan, is create a highly desirable and sustainable place for all to live, work, visit, and play. Underneath that, we pulled the 9 strategies that the community outlined in order to reach that community vision. As we continue to update the annual report, these strategies will be noted throughout all of our progress. Down here I have some little infographics. The first one is the short-term action items. Those are the ones pulled straight from the general plan. Due to everyone's hard work, we're about 50% either underway or complete of those short-term action items. The other 50% aren't started yet, but are still on track to be implemented on schedule.
If I can, Mayor?
Yes, Sherry.
I just have a question. Maybe getting to it, I'm not sure. Is there going to be then a hyperlink where short-term action items, if you click on it, you find out what the action items are, or is that coming later?
That's coming up, but
okay.
I think that's a great idea to add the link to the actual infographic so you can see them as a whole. Thank you. and then to the right of that one, we have the population data. It will explain this further, and I think it's in the executive summary. The yellow line is the benchmark that we pulled from the general plan, which was a little under 70,000. And then the gray marker shows MAG's latest estimates, which were 77,776. Population build out currently, we're about 10%. So I added a little graphic. Hopefully in the future with better technology and more creativity, we can come up with a nicer graphic. And then I pulled from the citizen survey the 93% rate for Goodyear as an excellent or good place to live, just to kind of show that the general plan is doing its job and creating a great place to live. Want to know even more? I added the links to the sidebars, or up back at the top. I did have those topics listed, but if you're reading through this, it's kind of fun to just see, want to see what Goodyear has planning for the future? Click here. And then I did add the link to the council work session just so people have reference for this year, for the 2015 report. And then all the way at the bottom, we have the documents. Those are all the master plans that we use. And then to the right are those resources. And then city staff updates are just, you don't have a link to them. So let's jump in. Categories. Physical growth and development. And this is kind of the base of all the pages. It starts with a little blurb up top about the chapter, really directing what that chapter is about. So physical growth and development addresses how the city will physically grow and develop. Within the physical growth and development, we obviously have land use, transit, public services, and facilities. So the main chart shows that we are about 30% underway, which is great. And then the link down here does show that list of action items with the update. They are color-coded related to the chart colors. So we have the goal number related in the general plan, the action item, a statement or update that comes directly from staff who work with the projects, and then just that little status marker. So like I said, they are all about the same page, the same little blurb, the same chart, and then it does have the link to the divided action items. And then in community and cultural development, I added some notable wins in 2015 because these are great wins for Goodyear. We did launch the Public Stuff app, and I put the link to that to download that app. And then successful arts and culture events. That is the one that contributes to the 5 completed action items. So I just put the link to arts and culture on there just because I thought that deserves some credit.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Joanne?
Okay, so notable wins. When you say notable wins, what are you referring to? Are you referring to what?
Just that we did launch the app, which is a great win for Goodyear, that we have an app. And then included in here, it'll show the top 4 are complete. The bulk of them are from the Arts and Culture Commission and that department. So I just put a link to there.
Looks like the partnership between Avondale and Goodyear. I gather
Yeah, that
that's
one
a
was
tail.
on
That's a really good one.
I guess my question was wins makes me think of you're going to list awards or something.
Oh,
and so that's what I'm thinking. If the public or someo's looking at, what does that mean to them? That's
a great point.
Your definition and what somebody might be thinking. It's,
I think in the future we can change that language. But I think the goal I was hoping for is we did the state of the city. We did this. We did all this incredible stuff. So here are some highlights from that year. So that was kind of the intent.
Maybe
there.
maybe highlight is a word you add in there, something like that.
Okay. No, I think that's a point well taken. We are just trying to somehow differentiate. There's not an actual action item in the general plan that says create public stuff.
Right.
So, we're trying, but it relates to some of the action items of engaging with our citizens more and providing them more opportunities. So we'll think of a better word than
although I can
wins.
understand what Joanne's saying, the word
Highlights.
win does something for people. It's the attention getter. So
Yeah.
it's not that I don't disagree with you, but I'm more apt to go into. I want to see
Sure.
what the prize was when we win.
Right.
No, for sure. And this is definitely an area we hope to beef up as the years go by of more
Yeah.
what we've done, the projects, highlighting them in, kind of in a central place.
So similarly, the economic development page, they have great progress of projects underway, which include just all the different partnerships working with the education corridors and the small business outreach and everything. So those are the standard pages related to that. The land use plan, I've talked to some customers who do get confused about where the land use and transportation map is from the general plan. So I included underneath the 2025 general plan link the land use plan, a specific land use plan link that brings you right to the plan, just for better access to that for our customers and for staff too, because there have been staff who are like, where is it located? And then this is the smallest list we have, and our project underway right now is the development continuum. Underneath that, we have population data. So this is that first chart that I included in the executive summary, which highlights a little bit more of the graphics, using the 2025 benchmark as the yellow line. And then as we continue on and with implementation of the general plan, we can add more dates or add more years and really see how Goodyear's growing. And then this chart is not very visible from where you're sitting, which is why I included the PDF version. The 2012 information starts from exactly what it said in the general plan. We use the American Community Survey 1-year estimates. So those 2012 numbers are pulled straight out of the general plan. And then this number, we can update yearly to see how it's grown, if we've increased in population, increased in employed labor, and et cetera. So that, and then I had to keep the graphic on here because I wanted to include the arrows. I would have transferred it over into the website, but I thought the arrows were so nice that we needed to have those cool visuals.
It is. That catches your eye. You're going
Yeah.
to look at the page. So good on you.
More green than red.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of green. All right, and then one of my favorite pages is the 2015 year in review. I did include that population update as well. The second graphic is the short-term action items that I included in the executive summary. That shows each page broken down, growth and development, economic development, community and cultural development, the land use plan, and just the overall total. And they're all defined on the side. And then I have big wins again.
Can I say?
Yeah. So we have big wins in 2015, and obviously as we continue to develop and have these big events, this list is just going to increase every year, I assume. So we have the arts and culture events. I listed out some of the big ones. The Loop 303 grand opening, I think that was in late 2014, but since it was implemented in late 2014, I thought it still counted as a big win. The State of the City was our first annual one, I believe. So that was awesome, and so I added that to the list. Make a Difference Day, I know we had about 250 volunteers, so I'd consider that a win. And then as far as new development, I pulled these numbers from the economic development update. So new jobs, single-family residential permits issued, newly built retail sites, and 3 new schools. So as we continue to grow more, these numbers are going to increase, and every year is going to be different, we can kind of see that change, and people can come online and see either. So 2017 we'll have the 2016 year in review and just see what happened in 2016 and just really have a place where they can kind of connect to how their impact or their influence on the general plan really impacted the growth of the city. And
Thank you. The other thing I want to bring up tonight is, and since the general plan is so new, we don't anticipate a lot of discussion on this topic necessarily. But when we come to you with these annual updates, we also want to identify if there's any need to do staff-initiated amendments to the general plan. Again, our goal over this 10-year period is to try and keep the general plan up to date every year so that when we get to the end of the 10-year period, we don't have this 10-year-old document. We have this document that has been updated all throughout and is being helpful to staff, to council, to our community this whole way. So, and certainly we want to hear from you throughout the year of things from your perspective which may not be working in the general plan, and staff can put it on our list. Again, it's been a few years since we've had lots of general plan updates, but those of you on council or commission before then might remember we used to do these major general plan amendments once a year, and they would come through as a whole group. And so if there's major changes we need to make to the general plan, we only get once a year when we can do that. We can set the schedule, but they have to be done all together. So we want to identify maybe any major changes we might need to make at one time. But then, of course, minor changes we can do throughout the year. And as I kind of said before, one of those changes we do plan on doing is amending the data chapter of the plan so that that portion is up to date every year. And that we set in the general plan would be a minor amendment because it doesn't change any kind of policy or action items just to change what the data, it's more factual based.
Joanne?
And it's funny you're bringing this up because I was going to ask you on the amendments. I thought that in prior years, we used to see them. I thought they had to be done by the end of the year, by December or something. Is that so? You're saying that's not how we're going to do it, or I understand what you're saying for the city that is making a change. We can do it throughout the year, but for developers, we want to have it at least. Is there a date specific so any developer knows that they have until this date to bring it to us for the year?
Thank you, Councilmember Osborne. No, you're absolutely correct. Per state law, major amendments have to do at one time, have to be completed at one time, and they have to be heard by the end of the year. But even for the developers in the land use plan, depending on the size and the type of change, it could be a minor amendment or a major amendment. And the general plan spells out that criteria. Basically, I can't remember off the top of my head. I want to say if it's a change up to like 50 acres, it might be a minor amendment. And if you're doing a big category leap, if you're going from residential to industrial, that triggers it into the major amendment category, but it might be a minor amendment if you're only changing 30 acres. So those can be done throughout the year. Our hope when we built the general plan and creating those more generalized categories is to reduce the number of general plan amendments. So we hope to see fewer general plan amendments that the development community doesn't have to do that to make changes that further the vision for the community, projects that we see as being very good for the development of the community. And so we do provide that schedule online and talk to the development community so we can coordinate all those applications. We haven't received any inquiries or interest for this year so far from anybody. Again, the general plan's so new. We reached out to the development community. We didn't anticipate a lot of changes. I wouldn't expect to see them the first couple years of the plan. But staff will be initiating changes. And if the staff has an initiated major general plan amendment change, it still has to go with those developer initiated changes. All major amendments have to go together per state law.
Go.
Correct. Thank you.
Go ahead.
That's
it?
That's what I had. I mean, unless, yeah.
Oh, no? All right, you finished the presentation?
I was just going to bring you back to the homepage if anyone had any questions.
Well, I'm going to turn it over to the council. So, Sherry, go ahead. You had.
I just want to say I think it's a great job that making it more accessible to people and easier to find information if you're searching. I think that's a really good idea to put it on the website. So thank you, all your staff and everything. I mean, that was wonderful. I also like the fact it looks like you can print the pages as well. And it looks like you can share them. I assume that you could share. It says share on one of them.
Is it at the top?
Near the top.
Oh,
Or
at
is it
the top?
Yeah, it was like comment or share. So you can also email. Yeah, I think that is a great feature as well.
I do
So
too.
I think that
We can't
really,
take credit for that, though. I think that's
Giving-
a
okay.
website feature, so.
well, it's a good thought to have it in there because I think a lot of people, there's maybe 1 or 2 pages they'd want to share with someone, like the population data, and it makes it very easy to do that, which some websites are not. So thank you.
Thank you.
Joe?
Yeah, I'd like to second that. I think it's great to have the linkage on the website. In fact, I'd like to see, and not, probably not in this discussion, probably some other ideas on how we can better use this website. But I guess my question is, if I went up there to that search bar and just put in general plan, would it pop up?
Let's try it.
Yeah, let's try it.
Okay. Oh, Alex, you're refreshing.
It's either that or we put in, we ask Siri, where is the general plan in the Goodyear website, right? Thank you. I appreciate that the link's working. Thank you.
Any other comment?
Oh,
Yeah.
I just
Joanne?
want to say good insight and great innovation. I think that this is something that my dear, your age and younger, and just a few years older, will be really interested in that. And so I'm glad that you put that together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other? Well, I just want to say you two make a great team. You really do. It was fun and inspiring, colorful, a little bit different, not so ho-hum business-like, and it kind of shows the spirit of our city. So I thank you very much.
Thank you. We really appreciate it, Mayor and Council. And again, I just say, as you have more time to look through it, if you hear any comments from others, we just hope to keep improving it and make it, we put a lot of work into the general plan, so we want it to be useful to everyone. So.
Actually, I think the way you set it up, we will look at it, Nick, because I think it's usable and understandable. So if we can understand it, we certainly know our public can. So, all right, great. Thank you. All right, so that ends this work session, and I think there's no reports to make or a manager summary or anything. So I'm going to adjourn this meeting, and we'll start the regular meeting at 6 o'clock. Meeting adjourned.
When has that ever